Hello and welcome to the P-Security channel. Today I'll be testing one of the most popular anti-malware companies out there. It's Bitdefender, and they have a brand new version out. It's their 2015 lineup, and I'll be testing the Internet Security. So first of all, you notice the icon, it's changed, so is the user interface. They've given it a complete overhaul. I do have to admit that this user interface is slightly easier to use as compared to their previous one. It's probably made to suit Windows 8 more. But having said that, this user interface is still not ideal. I don't like the color scheme so much. I mean, the way it's laid out could have been a bit better, but it gets the job done, and there's nothing that you really should complain about this user interface. It works okay, but I just feel that it's not as good as some other products. But that's no big deal. I mean, we're not here to judge a product based on its user interface. They do have a new widget, and they like to keep their product minimalistic. I guess that's good for inexperienced users, but if you are experienced, you can always go into their advanced settings, and that is what I like. Now, as for their program itself, security-wise, it's pretty much unchanged. They still have on-access scanning, active virus control, and all the usual features that Bitdefender has been using. I mean, they have a firewall, they have, I'm sure they have some kind of intrusion prevention over here. There you go, IDS. And by default it's set to permissive, and that's the way I'll run the test because I have used Bitdefender before, and setting this to normal or aggressive can cause problems for inexperienced users because it basically doesn't give you much information. It just blocks the attempts of the malware. So let's just update this, and we'll see how it does in our security test. Meanwhile, I'd like to check what is their memory usage like. So there you go. Their security service is a lot heavier in terms of RAM usage, if I'm right. It uses about 155 megabytes. Now, that's not a huge concern these days, but still, it's a little bit on the high side, and there you go. It goes even higher sometimes. And but on average, I guess it's around 150, 160 megabytes. So that's not very encouraging for people on older computers, but then again, older computers are getting even older, and now they're dinosaur age, and then pretty much they're extinct. So let's get started with the security test. I have to confess the quality of the malware I got today isn't quite as good as I usually have, but we'll make do with it, and hopefully this will be good enough to test Bitdefender. Now this is our first malware URL. I've got about 10, and let's see if Bitdefender can protect us against these threats. As you can see, this is entirely up to date. It says our system is safe, and I'll be doing this on user mode and not autopilot mode so that I can see exactly what's happening. First one got caught by their website blocking service, which is neat. The next one is an executable, pandora.exe. Well, I mean, it's not a good idea to download something like that. Definitely not, and Bitdefender has the same conception. Blocks it. That's great. So let's proceed to the third link. Bitdefender is known for its great signatures and website blocking service. As you can see, it's blocked 3 out of 3 so far. Here's another one, same domain, so I'd suspect it would be blocked. Well, it's not. So we'll go ahead and just run this file because it's an executable after all. And this one looks like it's some kind of adware. It is signed. Let's see if Bitdefender's zero-day components can deal with this thing. Nope. Nothing from Bitdefender so far. And nothing from the file itself. That's funny. So it's just like nothing happened. I executed the file and nothing happened. That's weird. But let's go ahead with the test, and for my guess, I'd say that thing just didn't work out. The file just couldn't download whatever it was trying to download, or it just doesn't work anymore. So this one got caught. This was a more serious threat, I believe, as compared to the previous one, which was probably a piece of adware, and I'm not seeing anything in the task manager, and neither is anything popping up, so I'm assuming that it didn't work out. I guess it's a safe assumption. Now this one's blocked too by their website filter. That's good to see. And this is a pretty well-known virus domain, so it should be blocked. Well, just pardon me if I sound a little bit weird. That's because I have a sore throat. But let's see if this one's blocked. It should be. Let's try reloading it. Alright, let's just grab the link again. Here is confirmation that this website was indeed blocked by Bitdefender. So let's continue. Alright, so it looks like something was detected, so I'd like to see what was detected. Alright, so it's basically in the cache, so I don't think this is a really big deal. But anyway, this page is blocked as well. Let's continue. We've got 2 more links to go. Now this isn't technically a malware website. I'd say this is just a storage website where we have the malware file. Things are getting messy in this tab, so I'll just switch over to a new one. That should make our work a lot easier. Let's download this file. It's really small. Probably a Trojan. Bitdefender does seem to slow down the basic browsing process when you're going into a malicious website, but I guess that's not too much of a concern because you don't visit thousands of malicious websites a day. And if you do, well, you should be slowed down, rightfully so. And I think the way Bitdefender's website blocker works is that it keeps its signatures in the cloud. So that's probably the reason for the slowdown. But it's no big deal, and wow, Bitdefender did make my job quite easy. It blocked pretty much everything. We saw one file that was able to run, but I don't see it doing anything, so I'm assuming it just failed to do its job. Do its nasty job, of course, of infecting this computer with adware. Now, going into the second part of the test, I will have to disable Bitdefender, so we'll just go into protection. They don't have any easy way of turning it off, as far as I can see. So I'll just go into antivirus and turn off on-access scanning. This should be long enough. And I'll also turn off active virus control, which is their behavior blocker. That should do the trick. So now let me grab my samples. So in this folder we have probably about 235 malware samples. Now these are not the same samples that I usually use in other tests, but because I wasn't able to get those, I've got some alternatives. And I have to say some of these files are pretty old, maybe a few days old, but it should be good enough to test Bitdefender, and we will be expecting high detection ratio because some of these files, as I said, are a few days old. So please do not compare this detection ratio with my other tests, because these samples are quite different. But different or same, they're still malware, and Bitdefender has to deal with them. So let's do a scan and figure out what Bitdefender can do. Now the scan speeds are okay, but I wouldn't say they're like rocket fast. So I guess I'll have to pause the video and I'll be right back with the results. Looks like Bitdefender has found a lot of threats. 156 threats and 231 objects, so we'll delete all of them. And as far as I can see, the deletion is also moderately fast. It's not really fast, but it's not too slow either. Well, you'd expect it to be faster considering it's just deleting the files, but I guess this is not bad. I have to say the removal process was pretty slow, but it still hasn't dealt with some of the files, and basically it gives me an option to either do nothing or to take proper actions, which obviously I have no idea what it means, but I'll let it take its proper action, and once that's done, hopefully we can see how many files were missed. So this was quick, and it should be. So we've got 7 files in quarantine, and I guess the rest were deleted. So let's see what we're left with. Just 4 items. So that is pretty good. That gives us a detection rate of 98.29%. I'll give it 98.3. So that's a pretty good detection ratio. I guess it is just pretty good on these files because, as I said, some of these files were pretty old. But it's a pretty good detection ratio nonetheless. And now I'm going to turn on all their protection and see if they can deal with unknown files. That is, files that are not in their virus signatures. They do have a behavioral blocking component called active virus control. I'd like to see how it works and how it deals with these files. They also have an IDS, so I'd like to see if that comes into play too. So let's get started. Here's file number 1. It is signed. Okay, so it looks like it's going to install adware. And we already have an icon on our desktop, and looks like it was detected and threat was removed. Okay, so basically what happened is the original file was not detected, but the adware that it tried to install was, and Bitdefender got rid of it. So that's great news. So this one was blocked. Let's try the next one. That is not going to work. That is disappointing. But let's try out this one. Once again, I'm not seeing anything from Bitdefender, but this thing's working. And there you go. Now it's detected. Malicious application detected and disinfection in process. So that was probably their active virus control coming into play. That is good news. Let's see if the process is still running. No. So Bitdefender did protect us from this file. Now let's try out the last one, and it's not going to work. So, well, we didn't get to see a lot of zero-day protection from Bitdefender. I mean, we didn't get to test a lot of zero-day protection. So basically what I'm going to do is now I'm going to turn their antivirus off and try running some of the other files, because I need to see how the virus control would work and in more difficult scenarios. Alright, so we have some files here, and I have only turned off their signatures. They're still able to use the active virus control and obviously the IDS, or the intrusion detection system. It is at permissive by default, and that is how I'll be using it. So let's see if it can prevent all this malware if it didn't have a signature for it. So I'm not going to try all of these, but I'll just try some, and I'm hoping Bitdefender will be able to protect us. And this one was blocked. That is good news. So that is active virus control doing its work. Let's try out this one. Let's run one of these. The best thing probably about Bitdefender is that it is completely automated and you don't really have to do anything, even with their zero-day components. Now that is something which you don't get to see in a lot of other programs that do have good zero-day components. And once again, Bitdefender finds something malicious and it's going to be removed. Let's try running something else. As we can see, some of these files are failing because Bitdefender is working in the background. This one was caught pretty fast. This one was also blocked. Let's try running this one. That is also caught and blocked by Bitdefender's active virus control. I think we'll just try a couple more. Once again, Bitdefender has blocked something. Let's try this one. Looks like a fake Steam installer. It did run successfully, but looks like that was blocked again, or maybe we're just getting the same alert for one file. Let's see. Okay, we do have some processes over here that are definitely undesirable. Now this one has a name called Trojan.exe. Now, who on earth would make a malware that has a name like this? I think we've tried enough files at this point and we do have some process running, so I just want to see if the system was indeed infected. So this is where I'll stop the test. I think we've run about 5 or 6 files, so that should be enough. So I'm basically going to reboot the system, get rid of this folder, turn on Bitdefender once again, and then we'll just do some second opinion scans to see if the system is clean or infected, and if it is, to what extent. There's definitely some stuff running around. I'm not sure how effective the active virus control has been, but I'm sure it's doing some work in the background that I'm not being informed about because Bitdefender has a very user-friendly policy, so they don't tell you things you don't need to know. It just tells you malicious application detected. And I'm sure the IDS is doing some stuff too. So basically that's what I'll do, and I'll be back with the results from the second opinion scanners. Both of our second opinion scanners have found quite a lot of threats, but keep in mind that this is just a zero-day test, so we won't be counting all of them against Bitdefender. Now, the thing that troubles me is this, and this. Now, both of these are startup items, and well, they're running every time the PC starts, and that is not something that should have been allowed by their active virus control. Now, these things don't trouble me so much, but these things do. And looking over here, we've got lots of other files that are definitely malicious. We've got a couple of modified registry keys, in fact just one modified registry key, but we have this process that I would not like to have, and since I have rebooted the system, this is probably in startup items as well. So that's basically it. Now, my final verdict on Bitdefender. Now, it did do a pretty good job as far as the signatures were concerned, and their zero-day blocking is also pretty decent considering that it does not require any kind of user intervention. It's completely automated, and it did struggle a little bit in the zero-day part, and that is because, like any AV expert will tell you, that it's very difficult to entirely automate zero-day protection. So automating it just means that you're reducing the efficiency. Now, as an advanced user, I would really love it if Bitdefender in their next version maybe add a more hybrid system where you could have some kind of an advanced mode over here in which you would actually be able to interact with their active virus control and actually take part in the decision making process. But that is a concept for another year and maybe another version. But as far as this version goes, well, it is pretty good. Most people like it. I mean, it's pretty popular, and a lot of other reviewers and companies consider it to be the best AV in the industry. Well, what is my opinion? Well, I wouldn't call it the best, but it is definitely an excellent choice for any inexperienced user, and even if you're experienced, this is still a pretty good choice. So it's not quite the best, but it's almost there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Have a nice day. Make sure you check out Bitdefender. If you like it, you can go ahead and purchase their product. If you're not satisfied with zero day, I would consider some other products, because there are definitely other products that have better zero day protection. But if you're an inexperienced user and you just want completely automated protection, look no further. This is definitely the best product for you. So, thanks for watching. Stay tuned, comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next B Security channel video.